I'm going to just do a quick review from last week. So what we said last week, we started off with, as I call it, two of my favorite pieces of Torah from my teacher, Rabbi Aryeh Niven. This idea as Hanukkah is drawing closer, this beautiful Torah we saw from Rabbi Dessler, the power of a chabura, and specifically not just the power of any chabura, but the power of a chabura of women, of Jewish women coming together to get to this, as Rav Dessler calls it, panim de panim shuva, this deep inner point where all of our neshamas are connected. And as we know, the famous Chazal, that it's in the merit of the righteous women, right, that we say the Geula will come. So all the more so as, Jewish women coming together on this call, doing this panim to panim, trying to get to this deep, deep inner point together as a chabura. And as Rav Dessler pointed out, when we reach that place, and Yirtzeh Hashem, I hope to bring us to that place together. When we reach that place, he says, in a derech ruchni, in a spiritual way, one nefesh can be mashpia on another. And that, he says, was the tshuva, that was the amazing impact that just these 5 yeshiva bachers had, that they went to this deep, deep place together, and they did it as a chabura. And the Maccabees, their tshuva was so powerful that they were able to affect salvation not only for their generation, but for Doros, Acharei Doros, all the way up until our generation. And if we were to ask ourselves, who am I? I'm just a simple Jew. Hello? Okay. Do you ladies still hear me? I think so. I just got clicked on. Judith, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I think someone was trying to call in. It sometimes knocks me off, but I'm glad it didn't. So this idea that when we've been reaching this place, that, who am I? I'm just a simple housewife, or I'm just a Jewish woman in Klal Yisrael, whether, whatever our stance is in the Jewish world, that, what power can I possibly have to affect any real change in the world? And what the Rav Dessler is teaching us through the Maccabees is we have unbelievable kochos, right? The whole Nefesh HaChaim, if any of you ladies ever want to learn with me, this beautiful sefer that we're learning with Rabbi Tzadok Cable, the whole sefer, the whole first chalak of Nefesh HaChaim is talking about what does it mean to be created b'tzelem Elokim. What is the awesome power that we have to affect change in the world? So that was Rav Dessler, and then we combine that with the very powerful comfort that the Arizal gives to his Talmud, Reb Chaim Vital, and Reb Chaim is lamenting, the generations were going down, and how can we ever possibly equal the merits of our ancestors, of the Rishonim and the Tanaim and the Amoraim that preceded us. And the Arizal comforts him, and he says, you should know, Dalacha, you should know, Reb Chaim, that any little gesture, he calls it an avoda kala, lefi erech hador, according to the value, to the measure, to the status of the door that you're in, any measure, any small gesture in the direction of Hashem has more value, he says, than all of the Tanaim, Amoraim, Rishonim, Gaonim, Chule v'chule. Right? Meaning what? There's so much, especially in our door, and he was speaking 400 years ago, so all the more so in our generation, there's so much pulling us away from Hashem. And we all have, things that we're doing. It's 10 o'clock in the morning in New Jersey, and, you're on your way to work, or you're stopping working in order to be on this call, or for those ladies who are here with me in Jerusalem, you're stopping in the middle of your day. I should be getting dinner ready for my kids, but, Baruch Hashem, my husband's taking care of things. And we're just stopping. We're stopping for what? To connect to one another and to try as best as we can to get to this panim to panim place and connect to Hashem. So we have to know we're giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu unbelievable nachas in doing this. And we described also last week, so what is this nachas? What is this incredible relationship that we're meant to have with Hashem? And the Rambam described it in very romantic terms, that we're meant to be, as he describes it, like meshugana, in love with Hashem, right? Shoga batamid is the lashon of the Rambam, that we're meant to walk around like a lovesick man infatuated with a woman, and he can't stop thinking about her. And this is the level, this is the ahava shirauya, this is the level that is befitting, the love that is befitting that we should feel towards Hashem. But what? I'll speak for myself. Am I always, walking around Meshugana in love, obsessed with Hashem? No, I really, honestly, not. And why not? And if this is what the Rambam is saying, this is the love that is befitting, then why aren't we Shoga Batamid? Why aren't we obsessed, Meshugana, in love with Hashem? What's holding us back? What's blocking us? And we ended off last week describing that there's these blocks. There's these blocks that get in the way that are holding us back from feeling this, as Bilvavi calls it, we're meant to have a palpable, sensing, heartfelt relationship with Hashem. Right? Remember Bilvavi, he was defining for us, I think I read this actually in the intro class, what is the dvekus that we're meant to feel? And he says it's meant to be a sensing relationship, that our relationship with Hashem, it's not enough to know that Hashem exists in my head, but I have to come to a place where I can feel Hashem. I can feel Hashem in my heart. It's palpable. It's sensing, right? So that was the Bilvavi, and then we also reviewed the beautiful piece of Torah from the Chiddushei Arim, the first Ger Rebbe, where he's talking with his Gabbai, and he leaves us with a very provocative prophecy, you might call it, where he's saying, the world is going to look like, he's speaking 200 years ago, and he's saying there's going to come a day where the world is going to look just like it is today, right? Meaning the way it was in the shtetl when everybody, was basically Shomer observant, Shomer Torah and mitzvahs. And he says everything is going to look just like it is today, and you're going to have mosdot, and there's going to be yeshivas and chadarim and Beis Yaakov, and Talmud Torahs, and you name it. It's going to be easier to be frum than any other door ever. And what? There's going to be one thing missing. Rak davar ahad chaser. There's going to just be one thing missing. Rak HaKadosh Baruch Hu, hu lo yeh b'toch kol ha'esek. Right? With all of this esek, with all of this amazing proliferation of Torah learning and mitzvah observance, that we're experiencing in this door, and I really truly believe he was discussing our door, there's one thing missing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Hu lo yeh b'toch kol ha'esek. Yeah? So what does that mean? How can that be? How can it be that we're, as the Bilvavi also asked the provocative question, he says, what's missing in our Torah Torah learning and our mitzvah observance that it doesn't lead to palpable closeness to Hashem? So that was the Bilvavi's question. That's the question we're trying to answer. And in Yiras Hashem, over the course of, however many months, we decide to be together, I hope to try to answer that question. Okay, so that's by way of review. Basically, just to sum up the last couple sources that we ended off with, we identified, so the first major block that's blocking us in this palpable sensing relationship, we said, is that we take the relationship for granted, right? And where is that coming from? That's coming from, I would say, just a basic ignorance of the sources, right? That until I delved into this and would listen, especially as I said when I was introducing myself, I was listening to Reb Noach Weinberg over and over and over again as I was walking around the Kfisha Lavan on my yishuv, that it wasn't until I really listened and learned and went on, as my teacher Rabbi Niven calls it, a hunt for the knowledge of God, that until I engaged in this hunt, I really, there's Hashem, and, if I needed something, I would daven, and if something happened nice in my life, I would say thank you. But I wouldn't say that I was, walking around, Meshugana, lovesick and love with Hashem. Until what? Until I really started to look into and examine the sources. And for all of the sources I'm going to be bringing you ladies in the course of the next few weeks, few months, there's so many that I left out. And because this is the, as we said, it of all it and ends of all ends, and there's absolutely positively nothing more important than building this relationship in your life. So there's no lack of sources of Makoros dealing with how important this relationship is. So there's no way I could possibly bring you an exhaustive listing of that, though you can certainly go onto my website, goddirecttorah.com, where I do give you a whole syllabus and list of recommended readings and audio, etc., to try to do your own hunt for the knowledge of God. But we left off with a couple very powerful sources, which I just want to quickly say outside. the source from Rav Shimshon Pinkus, right, from Nefesh Shimshon, where he says something extremely powerful, that he's bringing us the Gemara that's from Makos, where it's saying as the generations went down, the Jewish people, they saw like they couldn't hold on anymore. They couldn't be Mekayim, the mitzvahs properly. So David HaMelech, right, he narrows it down to 11 main principles. And he says if we can keep these 11 main principles, we'll be able to keep the rest of the Torah with Siyata Dishmaya. And then Yishayahu came along and he narrowed it down to 6, I think. And then down until it comes along Habakkuk, and he narrows it down to 1. What does it mean he narrows it down to 1? What was this principle? Tzaddik b'menoschel yichyeh, right? A tzaddik is one who lives in his emunah, right? Tzaddik be'emunato yichyeh. And so we saw the Bovavi on that. What does that mean? That the ikar of one's life, that the ikar of a person's entire avodas Hashem, Bovavi said, he emunah. It doesn't matter if you're Moshe Rabbeinu. Doesn't matter where you are on the totem pole, on the continuum of emunah. Everybody, and even until Moshe Rabbeinu's last dying breath, he was working on his emunah. Like, how can that be? You think once you get to the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, you can have a break and not have to work so hard on your emunah. But no, every moment of Moshe Rabbeinu's life until his last dying moment, he was working on his emunah, right? The Bovavi tells us. And then the beautiful perush that Rav Pinkus himself gives us on this is, what does it mean, Tzaddik b'menoschel yichyeh? That he says that our emunah, our emunah he calls it our beit kibul. What does it mean, beit kibul? That our emunah is the kli, it's the receptacle, it's that which enables us to hold all of the siyata dishmaya and all of the bracha and all of the hatzlacha and all of the things that Hashem wants to give us, right? But we need a kli, we need a bucket in order to hold all of this bracha, right? So if our emunah is not in place, right, or, for whatever reason I'm not lining up my bucket in the right way, so I'm not going to be able to receive all of the bracha, all the siyata dishmaya that Hashem wants to give us, right? So we saw that beautiful source. And I think that's where we left off. So as a quick 15-minute review. Any questions on the review before I go forward? We're good? You hear us? You're good?
I'm good.
Okay, great. Okay, so now going forward, anyone else, any questions? Again, please do a *6 if anything at all is not clear. Okay, so now going forward, I want to just give us a couple more sources to try to diffuse this block, so to speak, of taking our relationship with Hashem for granted. So if you, hopefully you printed out the scans that I sent you, turn to the scan where it says Ramban Nachmanides on Parshas Bo. Okay, and I think it'll say on your sheet, on the top of your sheet, Kuf Mem Daled. Okay? Somebody, you happen to have it in front of you?
Yep.
Okay, great. So we're going to come back to this source again when we get to the power of speech, but this is just another beautiful makor for, again, what is it that what is the Yetzer Hara that we're trying to dispel, that we're taking our relationship with Hashem for granted. It's not really so important. It's one of the things on my list of things to do, but it's not as essential as I'm making it out to be, right? So again, Rav Pinkus says that this is the Beit Kibul, this is the receptacle that holds all of the Siyata Dishmaya. And the Ramchal we saw a couple weeks ago that this is, what does he say in the Mesilas Yesharim? He says the whole purpose of the creation of man is lahanot b'ziv shchinato, to take pleasure in basking in Hashem's presence. And he says this is the true good and this is the only good, and anything less than this is not deemed good, but is he calls havel havalim. It's vain and emptiness, right? And then we saw again from Bilvavi that this is the ikar of our avodas Hashem. And now I just want to show you the Ramban. This is his Perush and Parshas Bo. This is a very famous Ramban. And he's commenting here on the idea of mitzvahs, so to speak, mitzvahs kalas and mitzvah chamuras, like the so to speak the easier mitzvahs versus the more stringent mitzvahs. And so just go to the top of the page, right, where it says have, right? The mitzvah, okay, he's talking about the difference between a mitzvah kala, the hamura, shekulan, hamudos, the chavivos, ma'od. Right? All of the mitzvahs are chaviva, are beloved, are very beloved. Right? Now go to where it's underlined. Shebakol sha'a adam modeh behen le'elokav. Okay, why are the mitzvahs, all of the mitzvahs, again, he's referring to all of Taryag mitzvahs. Why are they chaviv and ma'od? Because for every moment that a person is osek in the mitzvahs, he's modeh behen. You could translate that as he's grateful to Hashem. You could translate that as modeh. He acknowledges Hashem. Right? The kavanat kol hamitzvahs shena'amin be'elokeinu the node ele shehu baranu. Sorry, I don't have my glasses here. And the kavana, the intention of all of the mitzvahs, kol mitzvahs, the intention of all of the mitzvahs is that we should believe in our God, right? And we should acknowledge Him, that He is our Creator, shehu baranu, that He created us, Okay, the He kavanat hayitzirah. And this is the kavana of all of creation, right? This is why Hashem created the world. She'ein lanu tam acher b'yitzirah harishona. There is no other reason for having created the world. Ve'ein le'elyon chafetz v'tachtonim milvad zeh. Right? And above, there is no other desire in what's going on down here except for this. What's this? Sheyeda ha'adam v'yodeh le'elokav shabaro. Right? So there's absolutely no other reason for Hashem to have created the world, for Hashem to have given us Torah and mitzvahs, except for what? Underline this. Sheyeda ha'adam v'yodeh le'elokav shabaro. Right? Except for what? To know, that man should know and acknowledge Hashem, his creator, who created him. Okay, so that's the Ramban. And also, I didn't scan it for you, but the Zohar says very explicitly, he says that the Zohar says, Rabbi Shimon, that the 613 Taryag mitzvahs, he calls them 613 itin l'Torah, right? And that translates in Aramaic as eitzot. Right, that he describes the mitzvahs as 613 eitzahs, 613 pathways, pieces of advice, the Zohar is telling us. You want to know how to connect to Hashem? You want the eitzah of how to connect to have dveikus to Hashem? So we have Taryag mitzvahs. We have 613 eitzahs to connect to Hashem. And again, tying this back in with Rav Pinkus, really we can't keep the mitzvahs at all, right? That just keeping Taryag mitzvahs is an absolutely overwhelming, like almost formidable task, were it not for the fact that Hashem gives us the siyata d'shmaya that we need to keep the Torah and mitzvahs. And what gives us that siyata d'shmaya? Tzadik b'manos hoyecheh. Right? That by strengthening our Emunah, by making this relationship with Hashem real, that's what gives us the kli, that's what creates the kli to draw down not just the siyata d'shmaya to keep Torah and mitzvahs, but all of the siyata d'shmaya in our lives for everything that we want. Okay, so I wanted to just share that Ramban with you, and we're gonna come back to that again in a few weeks. I want to now, going forward, bring you, I believe I mentioned this in our Derech Hashem in the introduction class. Hi, forever just pops on. You can do a *6 if you want to say hello. If not. But you're on a group mute, but if you want to do *6, go ahead.
Hi, it's Miriam Katz. Sorry I'm late.
Hi. How you doing, Miriam? Good. Good to have you.
Doing good.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, good. So actually all you did was miss the review.
Okay,
so
great.
You can hear it on the recording, but I just did a quick review, and now we're basically going forward. So
wonderful.
Fantastic. Good to have you. So I think I said over in the intro class that I sent around before we started, but I want to just review again. What we're talking about, Miriam, is this whole idea of what's the first block that we're trying to dissolve in creating this heartfelt, palpable relationship with Hashem. We said this, we're meant to have this sensing, palpable relationship. We're meant to be shoga tamid, as the Rambam said, and if we're not, it's because there's blocks getting in the way. So the first main block is that we take the relationship with Hashem for granted, and then I basically went over all the sources we saw last week about why this is absolutely positively the most important priority in our lives. So going forward, I just want to review what I said in the intro class, which is the Derech Hashem. And this is very important because this is going to be the foundation going forward. Derech Hashem, right? Chapter 2 of Derech Hashem says the following: Derech HaTov LaHeitiv, okay, which means it is the way of goodness to bestow goodness. Derech HaTov LaHeitiv. So what does that mean? What is the Ramchal telling us? What he's explaining in Chapter 2 in Purpose of Creation is that Hashem created the whole world, and this, again, the Ramban, Nachmanides just described for us what we just saw, the Ramban on Parshas Bo saying this, that Hashem created the whole purpose of creation, the Derech Hashem says, and the Ramban says, is for Hashem to give. Right? Derech HaTov LaHeitiv. Meaning what? Meaning, if the whole purpose of creation is for Hashem to give, so he had to create a being, a receptacle, yes, so to speak, for Hashem to give to, yeah? So Hashem created a world, and his whole purpose in creating the world was to give to this world and to give to the beings, right, to mankind that he created on this earth. And that means our job is therefore to receive, right? That there's this give-receive relationship going on here. If Hashem's whole purpose in creating the world is to give, then I, by my receiving that which Hashem wants to give me, I'm fulfilling Hashem's purpose in creation. Yeah? So if Hashem created the world to give, so Hashem wants to give us the absolute maximum pleasure that he could possibly give us. Right? If Hashem's going to give, he's going to give all the way. He's not going to give us a half pleasure. He wants to give us the gold, pristine, go for it all the way pleasure. Right? So what is the ultimate, pristine, premium pleasure that Hashem could possibly give us if he's going to give us the ultimate pleasure? Yeah, what's the answer?
Hashem.
Hashem, right. Very good, Judith. Right? There is no greater pleasure than connecting to Hashem himself, because all other pleasures, by definition, are finite pleasures, and only Hashem is infinite. So if you're going to have pleasure, you might as well go for the infinite pleasure, right? Now, yeah? So there is no greater pleasure than connecting to the infinite source of pleasure, connecting to Hashem, right? Now, to make this pleasure the ultimate experience, and again, we're hardwired, we're created for this pleasure. We're created, again, what did the Ramchal say in Mesillas Yesharim? We are created to take pleasure in Hashem. That it's like, Hashem put into our software this, we're hardwired for being in this relationship. So if Hashem created us to be in this pleasurable relationship with him, he wants us to have the maximum pleasure, right? And in order to create for us the maximum pleasure, right, what does Hashem do? Right? The max, and we know this intuitively, in any area of our lives, that the more that he set up the world in such a way that this relationship has to be earned. Yeah, it's not a freebie. It's not that, as I use the example, Superman zooming in on Lois Lane and saying, "Hi, I'm here to save you," ba-ba-da. Right? And sometimes Hashem does do that, and the times that he does do that, it's an amazing experience. It's like, wow, Hashem, you really are here, and you really do love me, and you really can save me. But what makes those experiences so real and so heartfelt and so unbelievably charged with positivity and gratitude is the degree that we had to work and we had to struggle and we had to, so to speak, go through the darkness beforehand, yeah, and so that the more we put our effort into the relationship itself, the more meaningful the relationship will be. So that when we have those moments of, Hashem, you really are right here, right now. You really are beside me. I couldn't open my mouth. I couldn't talk. I couldn't possibly give over this class. I couldn't have this curriculum. I couldn't do anything if you weren't with me and you weren't beside me right here, right now, at every moment. But I'm not always tuned into that. So when am I most tuned into it? When I put in the effort. When I earn the relationship. That my favorite saying from Discovery teacher Reb Motzi Berger, he always says the relationship is only as strong as the weakest link, right? The relationship is only as strong as the weakest link. So in this relationship with Hashem, guess what? We are the weakest link. And so I need to, in order to make the relationship real and palpable, I need to put in the effort. And the more effort, the more meaningful. And again, we see this in all areas of our life, right? That's pretty clear. That's straight there, Hashem. Yeah, any questions on that? So that also is going to answer the question, okay, so then why does Hashem put all these blocks in our way? Yeah, why? Like if Hashem, again, Hashem created the world to give, and Hashem created the world to give us pleasure, and Hashem created the world to be in a relationship with us. So why does He make it so hard? Like, why do that? Yeah, and what's the answer?
An opportunity
Anybody?
to earn.
Right, exactly. That the more Hashem puts blocks in our way, the more He makes it, so to speak, hard for us. So the more we work at it, the more we strive, the more we struggle, and in the earning, that's going to make the relationship that much more real. And He wants a real relationship with us. He doesn't want a robotic relationship. Yeah? One of my favorite sayings from Rav Yitzhak Berkowitz, Shlita, he says, the Yetzer Hara, he says, call it your personal life coach. Right? Don't think of the Yetzer Hara as this alien being from another planet, but it's also put into us by Hashem. It's not a separate, it doesn't have any separate independent existence in and of itself. It's there specifically for the purpose to, so to speak, to raise the bar, to get us to push. Right? Because the more we push, the more meaningful the relationship will be and the more pleasurable it will be. Okay, so everything I'm saying up until now is that for this relationship to be personal, to be palpable, to be heartfelt, it requires effort. Okay, this is a muscle, which also, by the way, the word Emunah, right, the same shorish, the same Hebrew shorish root of the word Emunah is the verb lahit amen. Yeah, for you diktuk, Hebrew grammar ladies out there, right? What does it mean, lahit amen? Anybody? Lahit amen, to practice, to exercise, right? We have to do imunim, right? When you go to the gym and you work out, right? Or if you're, you're in, what's it called, basic training as a soldier, right? You have to go through imunim, right? So what are imunim? What does it mean, lahit amen? Our emunah, this relationship with Hashem, our emunah, it's a muscle. We have to practice it, just like we go to the gym to work out our body. So I'm going to put you ladies, God willing, to a spiritual workout. We have to work out our emunah. We have to work out this muscle, and it takes practice. Again, block number one, you cannot take the relationship with Hashem for granted. It takes work. It takes effort. It takes practice. Yeah? So, okay, so how can we make this effort? That's where I want to go going forward. Any questions up until this point? We're good? How are we? Okay, half hour. We're doing good. I promised Miriam I would stop on the hour and a quarter mark. So I'm trying to, it's not easy for me to be makatzer, but I'm doing my best here. Okay, I want us to turn now, I didn't actually scan this for you, but I'm referring now, the question I want to answer now is, so what is this effort? Right? I just said that our emunah, it's a muscle. We have to be mitamein. We have to train ourselves. We have to exercise. We have to practice. What is the effort that we're meant to put in? And I want to actually turn our attention to Psalm number 27, which we read during all of Elul and all of Tishrei, right up into Simchas Torah. And actually, it's actually fitting that I'm bringing this Tehillim right now because there's an idea that first we say the first Chatima, right, is Yom Kippur, and if you didn't get it then, so there's a second Chatima on Hoshana Rabbah, and if we still need, more time, so Hashem gives us a third Chatima, which is Zos Hanukkah, right, which is the 8th day of Hanukkah. So really, being in Cheshvan and coming up to Rosh Chodesh Kislev, right, this Tehillim is still very, very relevant, right, this idea of, if I didn't get it, if I didn't get this avoda clear and what my purpose and what my tachlis is for my year, if I didn't get it clear in Elul and I didn't get it clear in Tishrei, I still have it up until Hanukkah to get this clarified. So it's very good that we're starting this now. So in Psalm 27, right, in this Tehillim, if you have it in front of you, I didn't tell you to take out a Sefer Tehillim, but if you happen to have a Sefer Tehillim in front of you, you'll see that there's this language over and over again of avakesh, right? Achat sha'alti, we all know those songs. Achat sha'alti meis Hashem ota avakesh, right? There's one thing that I ask of Hashem, that I seek, right? That shall I seek, ota avakesh, right? And then further down it says, Bakshu Panai, right? That I seek my presence. Seek my presence, Hashem says. And then at the end it says, Et Panecha Adonai Avakesh, right? Your presence, God, do I seek. So it's saying 3 times in this one Tehillim, right? Avakesh, Avakesh, and Avakesh, right? Bakshu, Avakesh, Bakshu, and Avakesh. Right? So what is David HaMelech teaching us here? Yeah, that there's this avoda of being mevakshin, right? What does it mean to be mevakshin? What does it mean we have to search for Hashem, we have to seek Hashem, we have to long for Hashem, we have to want Hashem. So we're going to come to see when we get to the tool of Ratzon, right, that it's so much of this avoda is this union of being a mevakesh, right, of being one who longs for, who wants to be in this relationship. If you want to know the surest way to cut through everything, to cut through all the blocks and all the obstacles, right, want it. Whatever it is that you're longing for, if you want it, if you put your full heart and soul into it, and we're going to talk about this when we get to Ratzon, right, the more you have a pure Ratzon, the more it can cut through any block that stands in your way. So the more we want the relationship with Hashem, the more we'll have the relationship with Hashem. So we're meant to be mevakshin, right? And again, why is that? Why are we meant to be mevakshin? Because go back to what we just said a couple moments ago, that the more we seek Hashem, the more we search for Hashem, the more we desire to be in this relationship, right? The more we earn the relationship, the more pleasurable the relationship will be. Yeah? And, is that clear? And again, what I want to just bring this point down in a way that we can really fully understand it. That what does it mean to be mevakesh Hashem? It means, Hashem, I don't want to just know that you're right here, right now. I want to feel it, right? I want to feel you in my kishkas. I want to be totally, completely, 100% convinced that you're really with me and that I'm really in a relationship with you. And the way to best express this is, any time that we have a lacking in our lives, right? Any time Hashem puts this block in our way and there's something holding us back, right? So we turn to Hashem, and we turn to Hashem because what? Because, we're looking for a particular result, right? I'm davening because I need X refuah. I'm davening to Hashem because I need such and such parnasa. I'm davening to Hashem because I need a shidduch. I'm davening to Hashem because I need shalom bayis. Yeah, but what all of this is saying is I'm being mevakesh. What am I being mevakesh? Am I being mevakesh Hashem, or am I being mevakesh something else? And I'm, so to speak, using Hashem as a means to get whatever it is that I'm being mevakesh. Right? So what I want us to do is I want to flip it around and realize that whatever lacking that you might personally be experiencing in your life right now, right, the ikar is not to necessarily get that lacking fulfilled, but that lacking is coming to bring you to the relationship itself. In other words, I'm not being mevakesh a particular result, but at the end of the day, I'm being mevakesh Hashem, Right? I'm being Mevakesh Hashem. I want to know that, with whatever problem I'm coming to, sometimes I'll be in the middle of my Shemana Esrei and I'm davening for something, and I don't even remember after a while what is it I'm davening for, because at the end of the day, the whatever the lacking was, it was just to bring me to that place and to feel it, that place of closeness, that place of dependency. Like, Hashem, I need you, right? I need you, and ultimately it's the relationship itself that we're being Mevakesh, right? And when we look at it in those terms, so then of course my tefillas are always answered, because what am I really wanting? What am I really asking for? I'm asking for the relationship, right? So we have to do a whole paradigm shift, that Hashem is not the means, right, to get us the end of whatever it is we want in our lives, but rather the wanting is the means to bring us to Hashem.